One of my favorite thought experiments as a futurist is to engage in the experiment of running pre-mortems. Now, it's always better to run a pre-mortem as opposed to a post-mortem. A post-mortem we run when a business or a project or a partnership went horribly wrong. And there's really nothing that we can do to influence the past tense aspect of that failure. A pre-mortem, on the other hand, gives us a chance to redesign, to rethink, to look at both dystopias and utopias, what could go wrong, what could go right, so that we make the right decisions today for the future. So let me just concretize this and how we actually run a thought experiment according to the lines of the pre-mortem. We ask ourselves a question and we put ourselves into a future state, like a little bit of a future science fiction odyssey. And we imagine a point in the future, say 2030. And I want to ask you now the question to just come with me out to the year 2030 and ask yourself, in that year of 2030, on your watch, your company went belly up. What were the trends that you sort of just missed? What were the future signal that you deliberately chose to ignore? And what were the investment decisions that you just delayed and delayed, kicking the can down the road, as it were, that led to that demise? And instead, what change will you make today, in the present day, to prevent that from happening? Now, just to give you a little pre-mortem, post-mortem exercise here, just to kind of concretize where things go wrong. You'll see me gesticulating with my right hand here, and I've got a fractured finger. Now, that fractured finger is from Warriewood Rocket Ship Park, which should have a clearly labelled sign saying no adults to go up on the slippery dip. Now, a few months ago, I took my 1-year-old and my 5-year-old, one on each lap, to go down this really, really cool slippery dip. Now, maybe if I'd engaged in a bit of a pre-mortem, I would have rethought not to do this, even if there wasn't a sign to warn me of this. But maybe to have realized that it's not a good idea to go down a slippery dip with 2 kids on something that's really, really fast. And of course, I had to take one for the team, as it turns out. And of course, something like this, while it's not a mortem, is certainly an injury and a deep inconvenience to me in my life, certainly when it comes to changing nappies. So with that little bit of personal advice and business advice, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you start doing pre-mortems. Why? Because we can redesign our future when we think about a future state, when we think about external factors, and we think about the trends that we might have missed, the signals we might have ignored, and the investment decisions we have to make today to prevent a disastrous result from happening, and instead design for something that is exciting. See you in the future.